So we've done one, apologies for absence.
We have, yeah.
So we'll do 2 declarations of interest. Anybody? No.
None? Okay, so if any do come to light as we go through the agenda, then please draw those to my attention.
So meetings of the meeting of the planning committee held on the 6th of August. Are we happy with those?
Yeah.
Okay. Item number 4, Chairman's report and urgent items, please.
No, neither of those.
5, public questions in accordance with standing orders 22 and 23.
No, neither of those either, Chair.
No, okay. So we have 6, which is letters of objection for 1 Rosebery Avenue. Are we going to start with 1 Rosebery Avenue?
We won't, purely on the basis that I have a resident here or an applicant that would like to speak for their application. So we will actually go straight to number 22 Morton End Lane so that that gentleman can speak and then go, and then we'll move into Rosebery Avenue.
Okay.
Hang on a second, because I don't have any speakers for that particular application.
Okay. So we will go to item 7, which is applications registered for the week ending the 2nd of 8th, 9th to the 8th and 16th of 2024.
Okay, so on the basis of that suggestion, if I can draw you to page 28,
Yep.
and we'll move to go straight into number 22 Morton End Lane,
Okay.
where I have Mr. Hardy, who is the applicant, that would like to speak for the application.
Right. Have you explained about 3 minutes and all?
I have. Yes, so I've had email correspondence with Mr. Hardy.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay, so for the basis, just purely for the filming, obviously everyone's got them in front of them on the shared street scenes on the video, so that those interested in the future can have a little look back.
Okay.
Okay, so number 22 Morton End Lane. The property is currently a semi-detached bungalow set on the end of the road which curves around into Alders End Lane. An application to extend the property was considered by this committee in June 2023 and was subsequently refused at the LPA and dismissed by the planning inspectorate. There is a modest single garage and shed to the side, which is to be demolished to make way for the side extension. The ground floor proposals are the same as was proposed in the refused application. The main change comes with the first floor accommodation now being provided in the roof space by way of dormer windows as opposed to a 2-storey extension. This new application more closely follows the grain of the existing and neighbouring properties and is far less dominant on the street scene than the refused scheme. The number of bedrooms achieved is the same as the refused application, but the first floor store has been removed. Parking provision appears to be ample, with the provision of 2 off-street parking spaces on the frontage, and amenity space appears to remain sufficient. And I say consider no objection, subject to the previous reading procedural being fully addressed. Mr. Hardy, would you like to come up and say? Let's see.
Hey, firstly, thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you this evening. As the committee's just heard, this is our second go at planning. We feel we had a bit of a rough time the first time round. The first application took 6 months before it was even looked at by the planning authority, and those advising us, those making the decisions, clearly had a bit of a difference of opinion in terms of what will be acceptable. I know that none of that is anything to do with this committee, but a year and a half has passed. And spent more money than we'd like to getting to this point, and we're essentially back at square one. Therefore, we really want to give this application the best possible chance, hence coming to speak to you this evening. I don't want to dwell on the previous application other than to emphasise the fact that we've taken on board the feedback. And we've worked with a respected town planner to present something that we feel is a completely new application. The previous application did not get approval based on one main issue. And that was the effect of the character and appearance on the existing dwelling and the street scene. Essentially, it was felt that a 2-storey extension would be overly dominant given that we're a bungalow. That said, the planning inspector agrees that there's clearly scope for an extension at the side of the property, just not a two-storey one. So the application before you is based on a single-storey extension on the site of our existing outbuildings. The new design attempts to replicate what our adjoining neighbours at number 24 have done in the past with a single-storey extension and the use of dormers to form accommodation in the roof space. I'd like to ask the committee to note the following. We're not asking to do anything that others have not. It is going to be a little bit bigger than next door's extension, but as you've seen from the plan, we have the corner plot, and overall our sort of dwelling is about twice the size of next door, so it would be in proportion. There are other originally matching sets of bungalows in the area, or that have had large dormers and extensions in the past. In fact, just been made aware of number 9 Park Rise, which is across the Nicky line, not very far as the crow flies, and they got planning approval for a single and a two-storey extension in the past. I wish I'd known that previously. The application has received no negative comments to date from our neighbours, nor did the last one for that matter. We're not in a conservation area, and the proposed development is of a high standard of design and seeks to make a positive contribution to the local character. Indeed, the property is currently in a poor state of repair. Some could say it's a bit of an eyesore, and the proposed extension will improve this. The new design is now clearly domestic in scale and has been designed to be in keeping with the rest of the street and is sympathetic to the Hurst dwelling. My wife grew up in Harpenden. I moved here 20 years ago. We both work locally. Some of you know what I do for a living, and we're both active in the community. We finally managed to get on the property ladder in Harpenden, buying what we think is probably the worst house in the nicest street we can afford. We're not developers. We want to make this our forever home. We've got a growing family. We love the location close to the school that my wife went to. We'd much rather improve what we have than move elsewhere. To conclude, the Town Council's business plan describes putting focus on working in collaboration with local people to make Harpenden an even better place to live, work or visit. I would therefore kindly ask the committee to do just that, to work with us and support us in our journey in making our little part of Harpenden a better place to live. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's good use of space of the existing garage area to the left, and there is all that space. I think the main objection was the view, partly, wasn't it, from Alders End Lane, but with it being a corner plot and it not being in keeping. Obviously that's been addressed.
Yeah, it's in fitting now. But
I agree with your recommendation.
yeah.
Objection for being addressed.
So, well, last time we you said recommend refusal due to its prominent location in the street scene. This proposal is no development plot in terms of height, default and massing, leading to an unbalanced and overly dominant appearance on the street scene, which ultimately was
Being addressed now.
touched on is not two-storey element, yeah, and that was pretty much was the reason why the refused it, and also the inspector.
So are you happy with Heather's recommendation?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
so Mr. Hardy, my recommendation this morning will be as said on the agenda.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
So,
all right,
leave it
thank
to it.
you.
Good luck.
Okay.
So now we're going to move to 5/2024 1255, which is 1 Rosebery Avenue.
Page 30.
Yeah, just on the turnover.
Okay.
Okay, so as you quite rightly sort of touched upon, there were a number of letters of objection that we've received that we've read the agenda pack. I haven't received any in addition to that, other than the photographs that I shared with you last week, just before the weekend. But yeah, pretty much they all echo exactly the same concerns. Right, so my observations, property is locally listed in the conservation area with a design and character that's followed by many other properties in the street scene. Property was last used as a private care home until it was sold to become a single habitable dwelling with a change of use granted in 2023. The description for the main house development is for a rear ground floor infill extension of an existing overhang along with a hipped roof. Despite this description, the proposals are far more detailed and larger than the description might portray. The description is stated in the planning design and access statement as the proposed development proposes to extend to the rear the property by 2 stories to ground and first floor level, infilling an area with a kitchen, dining room at ground floor level and an additional bedroom at first floor level. The hipped roof will be extended rearwards to be in line with this proposed extension and provide consistency to the design, which is ultimately inaccurate. There are no plans to change the frontage of the property or increase the ridge height of the main house dwelling. The proposal mainly relates to the rear property with regards to the existing flat roof rear overhang element, which is to be infilled at ground level and extended above with a hipped roof with skylights and eave storage. No additional living accommodation is achieved through the addition of the roof, but adds a further 6.4 metres of roof form, reducing to 2.5 metres at the ridge to the existing rear roof projection. Also proposed is a 4 by 4.5 metre first floor roof terrace on the site of the existing fire escape landing with the addition of a black cast iron balustrade. In the past, to comply with fire regulations, this area has always remained clear of furniture with emergency lighting above and was not frequented as amenity space. The fire escape steps are to be removed. Policy 72 of the district plan states that balconies and first floor conservatories are not normally permitted to prevent overlooking of neighbouring properties and the subsequent loss of amenity. Proposed windows in the ground floor infill element are to be black steel frame, which differs from existing white wooden sash windows across the property. Footprint of the property at first floor level already extends rearwards further than other properties in the direct vicinity. The addition of a roof form further extends the dominance of the rear projection. Also proposed as part of the application is the addition of a garden shed with a ridge height of 2.2 metres located at the end of the garden, parallel with the boundary fencing and a garden outbuilding located close to the main house, over the footprint of an existing outbuilding with a ridge height of 3.2 metres. So taking on board those comments and the letters of objection that I've received before concluding my suggestion, I recommend refusal. The proposed rear infill extension, due to its rear projection and added height and bulk, is deemed to be an overdevelopment of the site, leading to a loss of amenity to the neighbouring property. Proposed first floor terrace is also deemed to be an unacceptable addition to the property, leading to overlooking and loss of privacy to number 1A and 1B Rosebery Avenue into habitable rooms and outdoor space. Proposed new window materials to the rear are out of keeping with the existing materials used throughout the property, which is locally listed in the Harpenden conservation area. Policies ESB 1 and 2 of the neighbourhood plan and 67, 72, 85 and 87 of the district plan affairs. So I think kind of really you've already had sight of them, but the photographs that were provided in advance and those that you've got in your pack in front of you really do sort of kind of set the scene really for this. Actually, although these ones here will do actually, I'm going to stop showing this, and there are some additional photos that were part of the agenda pack which I will show on the screen just so that it's consistent for the
So-
video.
It was a care home.
Yes, it was, yeah.
And it's, I think I know the one that's been standing empty.
Yes, I think it stood empty for a while, and then in 2023 there was an application for change of use from care home to residential dwelling, which obviously was approved, and then we've had this latest application for this extension.
But it's going to be one.
One
House.
yeah, one house, yeah.
When did it become a care home? Do you know?
I don't know. Do you know when it started being a care home?
We've been on our house for nearly 25 years and it was a care home we lived in, so probably in
I think-
first, I think.
Yeah, something pushed a lot to 29
It
years.
was, yeah.
Yeah, because I think I moved here about 8. I think it was a care home then.
Okay, so these photographs that were part of the agenda pack, and partly I'm sort of showing them here just so that it helps to kind of clarify for the video for future. These were the photographs that have been provided to me from a resident that lives next door, so you can see the potential impact that it's going to have. Just this particular picture here shows that this would be the site of the proposed balcony or terrace, roof terrace, I should say, overlooking completely into the garden and over at the side there.
Yeah.
I don't understand the ground floor infill. So it feels like it's.
Yes, where the bins
Yeah,
are.
yeah, but
Yes.
anything above that just
But also,
seems a bit strange.
Big picture, actually. These ones, it's in the agenda pack, actually, that shows, really
The main objection about the roof terrace.
I think, well, the main objection are two things. So the roof terrace obviously will have direct impact
Yeah.
onto the neighbours to the left-hand side of it.
Yeah.
But I suppose probably the main thing in terms of the actual kind of design and character and the impact generally on the street scene is the addition of the roof form. Which, you know, at the moment, we've got a flat roof there at the moment.
At the back.
Yeah, to a rear projection already projects an awful long way. When you look at the.
Oh, it's going up.
Because it's going up, yeah, so if you
Very.
look, actually, it's sort of, I think it's number 27, you'll look, slide 27, you can see that already the footprint of the property extends an awful lot further back than other ones within that street scene. And then by adding the addition of this roof, for no apparent reason, it's not that there's achieving any additional accommodation, any extra bedrooms, or even storage space, just adding this roof form is to, well, I think the here was 6.4 metres. Yeah, is an awful lot of additional bulk at the back of the property.
When it's already considerably larger than the next door neighbours anyway,
Yeah.
isn't it?
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I agree with your,
The,
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome to ask questions.
Are they giving out?
They aren't, no,
No.
no.
Sorry, would demolition of that first floor extension and then rebuilding, that would be an entirely separate thing?
Totally separate, yeah.
Because at the moment, drawings show that the extension is held up by three beams on 6 piers.
Right.
But on the proposed drawings, those have disappeared, so I'm wondering whether they're planning to hold it up on jacks whilst they knock the pillars out, or?
I don't know. If they were choosing to remove that section, there would have to be very clear wording of demolition within the application description. We're aware, obviously, that the description doesn't actually really depict everything that is happening, but I would be very surprised if they didn't use the word demolition somewhere within, you know, it's normal for you to read the words of, you know, demolition of existing rear element and replacement with 2-storey rear extension, you know, what's the norm. But yeah, I can't comment because it's not part of planning, that they need to divulge how they're going to go about doing the actual building works. So if they were to demolish it, they would have had to use the word demolition of existing rearward projection or something like that anyway.
from the proposed and the existing, it doesn't look like they're going out that much further.
They aren't going out any further, they're just going
Putting a
up.
bigger roof.
Yeah, almost square.
They're just adding
But
the roof.
even if you look,
They aren't actually, so they're infilling at ground floor.
yeah, I get that.
And then
Yeah.
at first floor level and beyond, they aren't adding any additional extension, they're just adding a roof, because at the moment we've got a flat roof.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
yeah.
But they do have a
That's
window
really-
in that new though as well, don't they?
Yeah, so they're Velux windows, so it's to be able to add light.
Oh, right,
Space to be used as a gym.
oh, right,
Okay.
okay.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. But that's an existing bedroom though, isn't it, at the moment?
No, it's
It's
the
fresh
air.
low, yeah, that's one, yeah.
the 31, the proposed.
So you're saying the eaves, they're going to do.
Side elevation,
Oh, that,
slide 31.
they're covering it, aren't they?
Obviously, the work that's been done to the house to enable it to be a care home will have all had planning permission. Won't it?
What do you mean? What?
So in terms of the fire escape and.
Yeah, so that would have been planning permission back pre the district plan.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, this would have been, so if the gentleman over there's confirming that it was like, you know, in excess of 30 years or around 30 years, then there's the, whatever happened to the property then would have been pre-district plan.
Would that be much easier to have got planning information?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's been, you know, potentially yes, because I'm not even sure that the conservation area actually was even in existence. Or even to the extent that the conservation area is to what we've got now. I know it's extended in 1994. I don't know.
Rosebery
Oh, there you go,
Avenue
is
has
that-
been in
no,
conservation area
Yeah,
from when that was initial, the avenues.
but I think that probably things were less strict.
The gym's actually marked in. The gym at the top proposed. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I suppose to an extent it doesn't. That's what they're doing.
No, it's just, I was just interested because it's just, they've got all the little machines.
Does that overlook
Yes.
next door neighbour then? That window?
It was an existing bedroom though, wasn't it?
No, there was nothing there before.
It's, yeah, and I think I can see the word
That's the gym.
bedroom.
Yeah.
Well, I think same thing. I think they're just boxing off that bit.
There.
I thought that.
Anyway, but I mean,
I agree.
but
Consistent.
they're skylights, they're not,
Yeah.
so they're sort of light in.
It does look better when it's sort of got a proper roof rather than a flat roof.
Yeah.
Mm.
So does 1A extend out further than 1B?
That's an
So, 1B
Yeah,
extends marginally further than 1A,
okay.
and number 1 extends even further than 1B.
There's a good map.
So, yeah, so
Yeah.
number 27,
That got your 1A, 1B.
1A, 1B.
3A.
Or one.
Is that bit, I somehow described it as an infill because there's a tiny bit of their building that comes to that building line. It's a proper
It
ground.
does look
is a
so
big
much
extension.
bulkier,
Yeah.
doesn't it? When you
Well,
look
I'm in agreement with your recommendation. Hannah.
Yeah, I agree with all 3 points, particularly point 2 about the terrace. I think we'd love to have this more and more, and I think that especially in conservation area, it's not an acceptable addition, so I'd definitely go on that. And I think this is a trend, replacing windows with these black frames. I don't know what the rules are, but it isn't in keeping with the houses that are there at present, but I won't be surprised. It's a trend that we see.
More of.
Seems to be yeah, something that people quite like, but so I agree with your 3,
Yeah.
that helps, your 3
Yeah.
points that you've raised, Heather. As I say, I feel particularly strongly about point 2. And it definitely is a lack of, it does impact on the other houses, where you can look from the terrace onto the garden.
Yeah.
because the positioning of it in the street as well actually means that it will be visible from the road quite clearly as well. Because there is such a, you know, looking,
Strange to want to do that.
Do what?
Present yourself so, you know,
Visibly.
visibly.
Can I ask you, are you on that side of the road?
Me.
2 neighbours?
I'm next door to the single story extension.
Oh, right, right,
And you can see that from the road.
yes. The other side.
Because the front elevation proposed and existing, I mean, it looks,
doesn't differ at all.
doesn't differ at all, does it?
No.
It's just all.
It's all rear,
It's all
all rear.
Okay, yep. Are we happy to go with Heather's recommendation and recommendation?
Yeah. Okay, which then leads me on to asking the question of whether or not you'd like the application to be called in. I have already preempted and have sought support from one councillor already and a semi-support, just need to actually get it in writing from another. I do already have
From St Albans.
yeah, so I've got Councillor Jill Haynes, who has already written to say that she'd be in support of it. And an intimation that Councillor John Galvin will also, but I haven't received anything in writing. I haven't pursued it.
Yeah.
But intimation
That's a
that
good
he
shout.
would be support it. So are you in agreement to initiate a call
I
in?
mean,
Definitely.
it seemed fairly, these are material concerns. It's, the planning officer would likely come to the same conclusion. wouldn't
You'd like to think so, but you
Oh,
cannot guarantee.
they?
So by calling the application in, it gives an opportunity that should the case officer say, well, I can't see anything that's wrong with this, it gives it a fresh opportunity for it to be debated at committee. It could, you're quite right, you know, Councillor Bosman, but the case officer may feel the same as us and say that this is unacceptable and refuse it, and that's it, that's the end of the line, it's refused, and if they want to pursue it, they have to go to appeal. We'll come back. to
Okay,
something.
well, yeah, I'm bound to your experience.
Yeah, you can never guarantee.
Yeah.
The case officer is going to refuse something.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I shall arrange for the initiation of the call in. Okay. No, not at all. You're welcome to go.
We're just getting to the good bit.
Okay,
Thank you.
right, thank you.
Right now.
Bye-bye. Right, so we'll go back to the beginning now. So back to page 27.
So we'll start off with 5/2024, 11/21, 17.
Okay, planning permission was granted in 2020 for an aesthetically similar street scene design application. The main change to the previously approved application is the ground floor rear extension now stretches the full width of the property as opposed to partial width as per the approved. All other elements of the approved application appear to be replicated in the new application. The concerns expressed by this committee over the approved application related to parking provision. Property is extended from 3 bedrooms to 5. The existing garage is to be lost and there appears to be parking provision for just 1 car in frontage. Therefore, there continues to be insufficient street parking provision for the number of bedrooms proposed, not conservation area and no tree works, and I recommend repeating the wording from last time.
Commonly, it's
It's quite a big increase, isn't it?
opposite Catherine Warrington, isn't it?
It is.
That's right, yeah, where there's
So-
parking problems, yeah.
Parking is an issue.
Oh, they are putting so much parking, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's more a case of the,
Side roads.
well, as parents waiting for kids to
Yeah.
come out of school.
Sorry, was the original application to grow from 3 bedrooms to 5?
Yes.
It was, okay.
Yeah, so ultimately the only change has been that they've now extending further across the back. Was, yes, I think what's shown on there is the previously approved, was just a small extension to the rear. And now they're actually looking to go completely across the back. So that's the only change.
So last time the district council planning officer didn't think parking was an issue.
No, they often don't, unfortunately.
No, they
Yeah.
don't.
That's what only
Yeah, I think you're right to.
Yeah.
To consider that, and so go ahead, but
Because the fact that
Better.
they're only going to have 1, it's not even as if we're just efficient because we've got 2 and we'd ideally like 3. We have one parking space for
Yeah.
5-bedroom house.
But there's nothing else you can do there, is there, just to repeat that?
Mm.
And then it's up to, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's unlikely that St Albans will change their mind.
yeah.
But there's,
So they let it go through, and the only difference now is just this extended. That's going to be fine, isn't it?
it's likely, but I feel that if we felt strongly about something like that before and nothing has changed to address that, then we should continue to stick to it, even though even though it's unlikely that it will be refused on that basis. We're the ones that know locally the impact of it and what's happening there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So, 5/2024, 12/5. Doesn't meet the criteria, so we'll move back to 64.
The proposal is for a small ground floor front extension to extend the lounge building line to meet the existing porch line. Conversion of the garage to habitable accommodation and a two-storey rear extension across the full width of the property. Despite this, the 45-degree visibility line for number 62 Derwent Road is shown to not be impeded. There is a single-storey element to the side of number 64A that assists with preventing impact on them. The roof form is also sympathetic by being hipped in. There's no increase in bedrooms, just the size, not conservation area and no pre-works. And I've said consider no objections subject to no loss of meeting number 62 Derwent Road, policy ESD 2 of the neighbourhood plan and 72 of the district plan of affairs.
Yeah.
So much better.
Okay, happy with
Yeah,
that?
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay, so 5/2024, 1307 and 1198 don't meet the criteria. We've done 1297. So we're now moving on to 5/2024, 1313 doesn't meet the criteria. So we'll do 5/2024, which is Waveney Road, please.
Proposal is looking to extend the side of the existing kitchen to the boundary line and to convert the garage into habitable accommodation with the relevant changes to openings and a cat-side roof and cladding. Whilst the rear extension is a good addition to the property, the roof design and cladding materials proposed for the front extension are a departure from the existing design and materials of other properties in the road. It may be viewed as out of keeping with the host dwelling and the street scene. There is parking provision off-street for 3 cars, and I've said to consider express concern over the proposed roof design and use of materials on the front extension, which are at odds with the existing street scene. Policy ESD 2 of the neighbourhood plan and 72 of the district plan of affairs. It's bizarre.
It does look a little bit bizarre.
It
but
is
It looks
different.
just like my next door neighbour's property.
Okay,
Well, the whole thing is like that roof at the front porch.
is it?
Yeah. I mean, you've not said refused. Just said express concern about the
It's because it's
existing.
clad in wood as well.
Yeah. No one else has got anything similar on the street, do they?
No, I had a good look actually.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Difficult because I can only look at what the latest photos are available, but
Yeah.
they certainly didn't. People have done sort of kind of like pitch roofs and all those sorts of things to make it from being flat roof, but nothing at that angle in those materials.
Is there a colour picture, is there? No.
This is the you see.
Pretty offensive.
It goes up so high as well.
I don't quite understand what it does. In terms of spaces, what is the,
Let me look to see if there is anything inside. I don't think there was. So, no, I think what they're doing is the reason why they've done it is that they've converted the garage into being an office stroke spare bedroom. So I think by doing that, they want you to be able to add light into it.
So there were windows, that,
So there's a
there's a window.
there's a window. Well, there's no window in the side. The window is kind of on the top.
Yeah.
so the roof that
Oh,
we
actually,
took,
no, there is one at the front. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a window. So at the very front, and then there's another one on the top
Yeah.
of that roof.
So Heather, when you're talking about the roof design and cladding materials, you're talking about the 45-degree
Yeah.
angle roof, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the, because it's a cat slide roof, and it goes up beyond, well, if you look at that picture there, it goes all, sort of the point of it is at the middle of the upper floor window, which exactly was just a little, like, ooh.
Unusual.
Is it going to cover a window? I don't think it is though, is it?
No.
It's coming up between the windows.
There's no reason why it couldn't just run along and take off the top triangle and be in line.
Yeah,
I think
it'd
maybe
be
it's
the
not-
pitched roof that you generally see where they
Yeah.
don't remove the flat roof element, they just put a pitch.
Yeah.
But it's just because it's at right angles as well, it's just, and it's wood.
Aren't
It's
you going to
wood
get
frame.
runoff from the cat slide onto, you know, runoff of water onto
Well, I
the,
think there's
the
probably a
roof?
gutter, there that goes down, but
yeah.
Strange design.
yeah, that was.
I wonder if it's driven by cost. Don't know.
Why would that?
Also, do you know the window at the top? The window that's on the roof of the cat slide. Is that opaque or?
It looks as if it provides light into a shower room, actually.
Oh, right. So it won't be see-through.
Hopefully not. Mind you, the neighbour could look out of their window and have a bit of a shop, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Looking down,
Yeah.
if it wasn't okay.
So I assume that must be opaque.
Okay, so what are we doing with this?
So express concern.
Yeah.
I think what you've said is, all really, yeah.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 524, 1255, we've done. So 2024, 1316, 1317, and 1320, don't meet criteria. So we now go to 2024, 1138, which is 29 million.
The planning permission was granted early this year for a similar proposal. However, the applicant has resubmitted with amendments as follows. A reduction in scale. The revised scheme reduces the extent of the build to the right-hand side by 1 metre, creating a 1 metre gap between the building perimeter and the property boundary. This will improve the aesthetic positioning on the plot. A small extension to the rear. In lieu of the larger side extension, which has now been reduced, they have added a small garden room extensions to reappropriate the space lost by bringing the house in from the boundary and to more appropriately utilise the ground floor space. Beautification on the front facade. The design has been modified to remove the second set of doors from the front facade and to introduce a bay window to the side extension to keep in line with the rest of the building and mirroring the existing facade. These amendments all appear to be acceptable, and I say please to no objection.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah, I remember.
It's the long.
Happy with that? Thank you. Right, so 524, 1349, 1286, don't meet criteria, so we'll move to 524, 1272, which is 8 Newton Close, please, of it.
The proposed extensions are exactly the same as to what was proposed in the refused application. The only change is the ground floor study window is to be sandblasted and top opening only to prevent the potential for overlooking stroke loss of amenity to number 9 Newton Close. I would query if sufficient change has been made to satisfy the committee's concerns over the impact on number 9 Newton Close for the proposed extensions, given that number 9 Newton Close objected strongly to the refused application. And actually, since then, they have objected again to this latest application. And then, interestingly, I've received some objections for number 7, which is the other side, concerned now about the single-storey rear extension, which they didn't reject in the first place. So I've received both letters today from both of them. So number 9 pretty much echoes exactly what they were concerned about last time. Touched on the fact that the small change isn't going to make any difference. But the number 7, they're concerned about the consequences the building would have on, well, this lady's written on behalf of her father, who lives at number 7, who is an elderly gentleman who has impaired vision and struggled with the ability to see with the loss of light. So they're saying that because the consequences of this building project for number 7 Newton Close, my father would be dramatically compromised. In brief, a couple of core issues are as follows. The neighbour has applied for single-storey rear extension to 3.93 metres long by 0.9 metres from the boundary fence, with a steeply sloping roof starting directly under the high upper floor windows. It is to the south of Alan, who's her father's rear windows, and will massively overshadow his property, blocking most of the daylight to his primary living room window and the only kitchen window. So yeah, they're concerned basically about potential loss of amenity to them from that extension.
They've not changed it in any way. have
They haven't, no. So
Changed
really,
the window.
so I've said when the agenda went out to express concern that there was insufficient change from the refused application to satisfy the committee's concerns. So yeah, loss of amenity to number 9, and on the basis of number 7 also expressing objections as to whether or not we felt we wanted to also include over the potential loss of amenity to number 7 Newton Close as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
Through and others.
because at the end of the day, if the application is refused,
Yeah.
it will satisfy both.
Both sides, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they've not made any
Central Albans
changes to it.
District Council only objected to the window, didn't they?
Close proximity of the intervisibility. So yes, they've changed.
So they've changed that, so,
All they've done is they've just made it obscure glare
Yeah.
yeah.
and supposedly non-opening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Right, so 5/2024, 1.14 doesn't meet the criteria, so 5/24, 2024, 1062, which is the one we. Please, Heather.
This is an application which the applicant has opted to submit directly to the Secretary of State for determination, and therefore requires the recommendation to be sent directly to the Secretary of State with SADC just to difficulty in the process. The application appears to be exactly the same as that which was refused by the LPA due to no fact survey being presented. That has now been submitted as part of the new application. This committee had no objection to the application, which briefly is. The current property is the original, which appears dated and in need of modernisation. It sits on a good sized plot with the gardens of properties in the uplands on one side and an infill dwelling to the other side. Proposed new 4-bedroom dwelling will sit further back on the plot from number 1B Wheatfield Road, with just a single-storey double garage to that side. The ridgeline of the proposed new dwelling appears to sit lower than that of 1B. The gable fronted design follows a similar design to the neighbouring property and others in the street scene. Trees and hedges are to be retained with an additional tree added to the frontage to enhance the area close to the substation, not conservation area. And as to consider no objection, in principle, subject to the appropriate ecological and fact surveys being conducted and sufficient tree protection measures implemented to protect the mature tree and the frontage. Policies ESD2, 13 and 14 of the neighbourhood plan and 70 and 74 of the district plan effects.
Agree.
Yeah.
So we move on to 5/2024, 1 through 5A, which is 1 Timbers Court.
Okay, property is at the end of the row of houses with the long garden of stairways, residential home to the side and the hammerhead turning area, public grassed area to the front. Proposal is to erect a 2-storey side extension over the footprint of the existing carport and rear opening storage, stepped in by 1 metre from the boundary with the garden of stairways, wrapping around the rear to partial 2-storey and partial single-storey level. There does not appear to be any detrimental impact on number 2 Timbers Court due to the 2-storey elements being on the opposite side. Just the ground floor extension extends to their boundary. The extensions will provide more living accommodation at ground floor and a further 2 bedrooms at first floor, totaling 6 bedrooms across the property. There is a good sized driveway which appears to accommodate at least 3 cars on the street. Not conservation area and no tree works are proposed. I say consider no objection.
That park next to them.
No, so that's stairways, the residential home in Douglas Road.
Oh.
So Timbers Court is probably about 4 or 5 houses right at the very end of Applins Close.
Oh, I know. Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Down there's Douglas Road with the right.
Okay, so 5/20/24, 1, 2, 4, 3, and 1375 don't meet criteria. So we'll move to 5/20/24, 1, 3, 9, 8, 2, and 3 Leighton Green, please.
Okay, planning permission has already been granted for the infilling stroke extension to the disused Barclays Bank staff car park and located to the side of Weston's Funeral Directors. This proposal is essentially looking to further extend the shop frontages with accommodation above along Leighton Road by extending over the existing flat roof of number 3 Leighton Road, which is Man Pharmacy, to provide habitable accommodation, extending existing residential unit above number 2 Leighton Green, which is Stephanie Randall Forest, and a standalone ground floor commercial unit next to number 14 Leighton Road. The empty land that is to be developed is currently used as parking for staff of numbers 1 and 3 Leighton Green, although their leases do not give public parking rights. It is not possible to turn vehicles around in this area, therefore they are forced to exit in reverse, causing possible highway conflict onto Leighton Road. Currently at first floor level for both premises is a 1-bedroom flat, extended to 2 bedrooms as part of this proposal, and shop storage space, changing to a 1-bedroom flat. The proposal will provide a net increase in 2 habitable units and an increase in size in another, which is welcome to assist with the town's housing needs. Also provided is another commercial unit, which could add to the vibrancy of the commercial offer in the town centre. Properties in question are locally listed in the conservation area, but the proposed design materials of the extensions and the proposed shop frontage appear to be in keeping with the surrounding shops and properties. I've considered no objection. There is a letter of support online from Allsops, who say that the small commercial unit would be a good addition to the town. Ultimately saying that there are many larger ones that are unviable for many commercial enterprises, whereas something that's smaller would be more agreeable. But then there's also a objection online from a resident opposite saying ultimately that that it's inappropriate. I object only because we have yet another application with a desperate attempt to claw a bonus commercial unit of a ridiculous small size on the footprint of the property. Other elements, the creation of a new residential property are good for the town, assuming they are planned and built to should be complement the area. Proposed commercial unit is inappropriate for Leighton Green. There are some units already around the green, but no goods retails. What might this micro unit be used for? Also, just another white elephant micro unit. So yeah, ultimately they're concerned about that. Actually, will the commercial unit be viably rented out?
Who will own it? These are the owners of the shopping.
So this is Bob Kamak, who owns an awful lot of commercial and residential units in this particular vicinity.
I would suggest you might have a better idea about its viability. I would probably build it if you don't think you're going to be able to rent it.
Yeah, and also I think was it Allsops who said that a small shop wouldn't go. Would be useful.
Yeah.
Well, the smaller ones go quicker, don't they?
Yeah, they do. So the rent's less.
I think at the end of the day, it's some of the commercial units in Harpenden are probably not being rented purely because of they're too expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally.
And they're big as well.
And you're right.
Because I mean, from Cook, we look across at what used to be the wine shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's no way we could do it. No way. We're a good shop,
Yeah.
but there's no way. That rent is.
Manor Pharmacy is moving, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, is it?
Moving into HSBC, the old HSBC building. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be good there. They're a good pharmacy, aren't they?
Yeah.
They can put their drugs in the old safe.
Hmm?
They can put their drugs in the old safe.
So does that mean that the Barclays parking lot then was also owned by the same developer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he owns
Oh,
that sort of.
So
kind
wasn't
of
there some
section.
kind of planning something or other about going underneath where the bay window is?
Yes.
But that's
Yes,
something.
so what we can see there, so that little sort of kind of the little chute that goes underneath the bay window. So yes, so we looked at planning for that a short time ago.
Yes.
So I think actually, if you look, yes, so I think it was last year even. So that there shows the existing on the left, where you've still got the little hole. And then on the right is where it shows that planning permission was granted, where we've already got approval for a commercial unit there. And then there was an extension at the back.
That's
to add space.
not so,
Let's go to two new residential units.
So
Let's
it
give
will
it
be two new commercial, once that's built, there'll be two new commercial.
Yeah.
And then there will be a net increase in two additional residential,
and it's all getting bigger.
and the other one's getting larger.
It's good. It's pretty as well.
Yeah, it looks a lot nicer, doesn't it, than,
Yeah.
than what we've got. at the
Think
moment?
Martin's up that
I think it looks
side.
better than what we've got at the moment,
Yeah.
clearly with the flat roof.
I think it does. Yeah, it's just messy there, isn't it?
So actually, you've effectively got a continuation on of the high
Yeah.
street, which
Yeah.
will then go on, and then further up, of course, you've got the restaurants and the Inn on the Green and everything, so actually that will extend the high street
Yeah.
and stuff.
It's nice.
Loose and start car parking.
Well, in theory, they doesn't have rights to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Parking is, I think parking is just a massive issue for people coming in, working in shops, coming in.
Yeah.
Being able to afford it.
This. All good?
Yep.
If I go to 24, 1263 doesn't meet the criteria. It's going to decisions, decision notice and statement for reasons. Quick turnaround.
Rosebery Avenue figured large.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see now with the speed in which that was determined, the reason why people don't mind going to the Secretary of State quickly.
Yeah.
They won't have got the outcome they hope for, but at least they can go quickly.
So, gosh, then we have 3 works relating. Council planning applications, we have a few listed decisions.
Anything of any real notes?
Well done.
Okay, and then the next meeting is on the 17th of September.
And I've got
You,
Fiona.
apologies, and Fiona is based at 8:25.
She's also
You.
for the
Yeah, thank you.
corporate finance doodles.
But the following night.
Yes. Busy week.
Yes. That does that, doesn't it? Yeah.